Greetings, fellow important people of the award show judging tribunal. Kevin Butler here, VP of Making Advertising History. I'm here to tell you a little story. Story of a misunderstood video game console, an arsenal of sharp neckties, and at least one fake mustache. So allow me to open the kimono, as they say in Ohio, and show you how the magic happens with the help of my good friend, the overproduced case study video.
PlayStation mascots are an enigmatic element of the PlayStation ecosystem. Whereas Nintendo holds on to their legacy characters to make new games with their legendary IP, Sony will make a revered series of games with iconic characters, toss it into the history archives, and sometimes even forget they even exist. Kratos, Nathan Drake, Crash Bandicoot, or maybe even Blasto, these are all great mascots for the PlayStation brand. But there is one unlikely mascot you may not think of when the whole concept is brought into question. He's not in any video games, well, kind of, and he's not even an anthropomorphized creature of any sort. He's not even a hero. He's just the vice president of PlayStation, and his name is Kevin Butler. You might be thinking, Kevin Butler? Why, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Or you might also be thinking, Kevin Butler, who is this fabled character that I only have a vague recollection of because I watched a PlayStation 3 commercial once in December of 2011. Well, sir, and or madam, and or person who does not identify with a specific gender, I am here to answer that question. And I'm also here to explain why he mysteriously disappeared from the face of Sony, despite his campaign receiving very positive reception. So sit back, relax, leave a like, do that whole rigmarole, and let me tell you the story of Kevin Butler. It's pretty common knowledge in the gaming sphere that Sony totally biffed the launch of the PS3. Believe it or not, terms like you'll need to get a second job to buy a new gaming console that was absurdly expensive for the time doesn't bode well with the average consumer, especially when better options are right in front of their face. $499 in 2006, adjusted for inflation today, is $758. All for a console with barely any games of worth at launch. At least it had a printer though. Because of the poor reception, Sony needed to rethink not only their approach to video gaming, but their console design as well. Fun fact, the original PS3 was so expensive to manufacture, Sony would end up selling these consoles at a loss, losing up to $300 per console sold. This essentially means that the more consoles Sony sold, the more trouble they would be in. This loss in sales, not made up by the software, would be the catalyst for Sony to refresh their brand, literally shedding the fat from the console while also stepping up their game when it comes to, well, games. This mid-gen refresh was a total lifesaver for the brand, but it was a big change, and a change in product means a change in advertisement. You see, alongside PlayStation's poor console performance, they also had a bit of an avant-garde marketing scheme when it came to promoting the PS3. Now, it's no secret that gaming ads from the early 2000s had this very weird and edgy feel about them. Themes of body horror, sex, violence, and even pure artistic statements were really a sight to behold when looking into a gaming magazine or just looking at the TV in your local GameStop. These advertisements entertained a real explore the unknown when it came to video games, and they were totally awesome in their own right. However, these ads would also stray pretty damn far from the norm, and in the case of PlayStation, sometimes you would just have no idea what you were looking at. PlayStation 9, random creepy baby in the room. I mean, some of these ads were so creepy, in fact, that they were pulled from television because of viewer complaints. It seemed that consumers knew that the PS3 was available, yet they didn't know what differentiated it from the PlayStation 2 or any other gaming console that was out at the time. This is where the fabled hero of the story enters. In the time of the PlayStation crisis, one man was able to inspire hope, bring change to the sorry, sad state of the world, and birth PlayStation anew. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Kevin Butler. Kevin Butler is the VP of First-Person Shooter Relations, Director of Rumor Confirmation, VP of Blu-ray Superiority, VP of Fanboy Relations, VP of Soiling Oneself in Excitement, and unofficial VP of PlayStation brand, among many other titles. He's a witty character that has a passion for his work, the people he entertains, and of course, video games, all while posing as one of the heads of a multi-billion-dollar entertainment company. The character of Kevin Butler is portrayed by American actor and writer Jerry Lambert, known for short but sweet guest appearances in various American sitcoms, such as Everybody Loves Raymond, My Beloved Malcolm in the Middle, Modern Family, and even animated sitcoms like Family Guy and King of the Hill. Lambert is also recognized for his acting credits in various ad campaigns for Geico, Holiday Inn, and Bridgestone. Now, despite Butler being the main icon behind the mid-gen PS3 refresh, the first official appearance of Kevin Butler in a Sony commercial would actually occur before the refresh happened, starting with a commercial for 2009's MLB The Show, titled Dustin vs. PlayStation, and its follow-up commercial, Joe the Fan. The aim of these first commercials are fairly simple and sweet while posing as a mild introduction to the character of Kevin Butler. The aim was to promote the realisticness of MLB The Show with a comedic twist, and to baseball fans, I'm sure the ad resonated. But while MLB The Show is an important IP to the PlayStation brand, it's a game not a lot of people are here for, so let's just move on. On August 27th, 2009, Sony unveiled their new ad campaign, It Only Does Everything. This year is going to be a game-changing year for PlayStation. Last week, we extended an incredible value proposition within the $299 price move and the introduction of the sleek new form factor of the 120GB PS3. We've coupled this news with a truly unmatched content lineup this year with some of the most eagerly anticipated games in our history. You may remember our MLB ad from earlier this year where we introduced Dustin Pedroia's Dear PlayStation spot and our resident PlayStation expert, Kevin Butler. These new ads, created by our partners at Dosh LA, birthed a new campaign in which we will have direct conversations with consumers about everything the PS3 can do. And as you'll see below, it only does everything. It only does games, Blu-ray, HD downloads, Wi-Fi, all-nighters, action, realism, multiplayer. It only does everything. Now, most of these commercials follow the same format. A consumer, significant other, parent, nerd, job applicant, Best Buy employee addressing a message to PlayStation.
Dear PlayStation.
Dear PlayStation.
Dear PlayStation.
Dear PlayStation.
All while Kevin Butler responds with witty remarks, comebacks, absurdness, and pure fun.
Ernie, you can't believe everything you read on the internet. Otherwise, I'd be a Nigerian millionaire by now. It's like having a bathroom without an aromatherapy candle. Still gets the job done, but come on.
He hates candles, too.
Come on.
I know, right?
What's wrong with him? Not to be Buzzkill McGee here, but a better way to spend time with Kyle, Abby, and your lovely wife Jenny is to buy them a PS3.
Here are some of my favorites. I highly recommend opening a new tab, looking these up, and coming back to the video. Trust me, it's better if you have the context for what I'm talking about. Now, TV commercials are fine and all, but it was clear that there were other forms of advertisement that spoke to the core audience of gaming. I'll give you a hint, you're using it right this very moment. That's right, the internet played a major factor in the It Only Does Everything campaign. And for the first time in gaming history, online advertisements in association with word of mouth would transform the entire console ecosystem. Kevin Butler was a meme, he was a Twitter presence, he had a YouTube channel, and he was in touch with gamers on the web. He wasn't just this disassociated advertisement character that you would see on television occasionally, he was this ground-level advertisement character that you would interact with on social media. A real man of the people. In fact, during his time, he actually became the most followed advertising character in all of Twitter, paving the way for future ad campaigns that you probably loathe by this point. The campaign was very self-aware. They knew the PlayStation 3 sucked at launch. They knew weird advertisement wasn't cutting it, and they knew they had a slew of high-quality games coming very, very soon. In a stunning turn of events, Sony had now transformed the entire look, feel, and general air around the PS3. Most people were now looking at the console realizing that not only is it in their budget, but games like Uncharted, Little Big Planet, Infamous, Ratchet & Clank, and God of War, among many other high-quality AAA games, were ready and accessible to you right now. As someone who is currently working in local advertising, let me tell you that it is hard to be original and funny, all while trying to fucking get this bug out of my face, all while trying to promote an expensive product. These commercials knew just what to say. Take, for example, the Uncharted 2 advertisement. In this ad, a boyfriend by the name of Jason Melvin is addressing a message to PlayStation, stating that he's been playing Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, but his girlfriend won't stop watching because she thinks it's a movie.
This is pretty common, Jason. I mean, just look at this game. You know, you got Nathan Drake's epic gunfights, impossible escape scenes, and a plotline filled with betrayal. Give her an hour or so, she'll know it's a video game.
It's been 2 days.
Ready, honey?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna file this under not an issue.
Now, how many people watching this video have had a wonderful time playing a game for someone who's not normally into playing video games, knowing that they would enjoy some of the stories told on the medium if only they gave it a chance? I imagine a lot of you have. Games are fun to watch, and they're fun to play for people as well. And Uncharted 2 is a great game to introduce to those who are not normally acclimated into playing video games. That is a great selling point. What I'm trying to say here is that these ads perfectly isolate what is so great about not only gaming, but the PlayStation. And this new era they've established, this era of understanding what makes PlayStation so great, a diverse selection of games ranging from AAA cinematic masterpieces to fun, lighthearted party games to enjoy with not only just your friends, but your family as well. A device that is not only there for your interactive adventures, but also a multimedia companion that houses thousands of television shows, movies, videos, and other forms of entertainment that aren't just video games. This era marks the advent of gaming consoles not just being gaming consoles, but a central device for all your entertainment purposes, while also offering some of the most seminal pieces of interactive art the modern-day consumer has experienced. These commercials are representative of possibly the most important time in PlayStation history, for they saved the brand from not being this confusing, prude tech that only those in the know could enjoy. Now, of course, the console wasn't perfect. There was a ton of problems with the infrastructure that totally killed the experience in some cases, but fuck you, I love the PS3. Every console has its shortcomings, and the PS3 is no exception. Now, I've diverted off topic here, but Kevin Butler is representative of this special era of PlayStation. In a way, he is kind of the hero of the brand. But of course, it wasn't just Jerry Lambert's portrayal of the character that saved the brand. It was the minds behind the ad campaign at Doge LA. The writers, editors, and set crew really pulled together on an important piece of PlayStation history. These commercials are a goldmine, and I highly recommend checking out some of the compilations here on YouTube if you want a good laugh or if you want a big dose of nostalgia, maybe both. This all culminates into possibly one of the best Kevin Butler moments in PlayStation history. During E3 2010, Butler hops on stage during the PlayStation Move presentation, spouting a legendary speech. A speech that not only makes you feel good as a PlayStation enthusiast, but as a games enthusiast.
I say it's time we focus on what really matters. The games. Who's with me? See, I love gaming. I love walk-off homers and headshots. I love drifting a turn at 100 miles an hour in boss battles with a 600-foot-tall Greek god who may or may not be your father. Gaming is having a ridiculously huge TV in a tiny one-room apartment, staying up till 3 a.m. to earn a trophy that isn't real. But is. I love gaming, and I know you love it too. That's why you're here, and why millions of people are pretending to work while they watch this at their desk. Look at it this way. If you've got an awesome girlfriend, and then someone else gets an awesome girlfriend, do you know who wins? Everyone. With PlayStation Move, your mom can make your mom jokes after she takes you to school in table tennis. When we said the PS3 only does everything, we meant it. And the Move brings a whole lot more everything to the table. Because every gamer is a true gamer. Motion gamers, sitting gamers, everyone. And though we may pledge fanboy allegiances to different flags, deep down inside we all serve one master, one king. And his name is gaming. Forever may he reign!
It's the gamer live, laugh, love. Live, long, play. PlayStation opened up this new ad campaign with an incredible 2-minute advertisement that featured many different video game characters of that generation. Of course, you have Nathan Drake, Kratos, Sackboy, Cole McGrath, but you also see the likes of Lightning from Final Fantasy XIII, Ezio from Assassin's Creed, Isaac from Dead Space, and even a little sister from BioShock. Now, this commercial is still along the lines of the previous ad campaign, except Kevin Butler is noticeably absent. While Fret Not viewer For the Man himself would appear in various ads for PlayStation, albeit in a reduced role. Live Long Play was the evolution of the PlayStation brand. It was their victory lap, but they still had so much more to show. Now, because of that, Butler would kind of fizzle out, but oddly enough, he still had commercials, he was still active online, and he was still just as hilarious and relevant, which is why it soon became noticeable when Kevin Butler's activity was slowing down later in the year. And despite his recent return, trouble would soon unfurl in House PlayStation. It is time. The question that has been aching your curiosity since you clicked on the video. What happened to Kevin Butler? It seems that when all was going well, he just up and vanished, disappeared from the face of Sony. You may assume that his time as the face of PlayStation was over. He told his jokes, flexed the power of the PS3, and moved on. Well, my friend, I'm sorry to say that there's more to the story of Kevin Butler, for his life was not a comedy, but a tragedy. Betrayed by the very company he worked for. Or did he betray them? As I mentioned before, Jerry Lambert starred in other commercials besides PlayStation. One of the companies he worked with was the Japanese tire company Bridgestone, and long story short, in 2012, one commercial aired that starred Lambert playing with a... Oh no. Oh my god. It can't be. A Nintendo Wii? Yeah, Sony was not too happy about that. So much so, they not only cut Butler from PlayStation, but they also took Lambert to court, suing him for trademark infringement. Months later, both parties would settle, with the consensus being drawn that Jerry Lambert was not to appear in any video game commercials for 2 years. And that's really it. That's what happened. One of the most memorable ad campaigns of not only the video game world, but in all of advertisement history, dropped in an instant. This just goes to show how important loyalty is in the eyes of a Japanese company. I mean, in all honesty, what was Jerry expecting? He knew his presence was important. He knew he couldn't just play any gaming console on camera, and he should have known that there was going to be consequences. Now, I'm not gonna just sit here and act like I know everything about his position and what he was thinking in that moment, because I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he had a really good reason he just had to be in that inconsequential Bridgestone commercial. A man needs his bag sometimes. Who am I to judge? But what I do know is that this entire situation is just unfortunate. It's unfortunate that such an iconic PlayStation character was dropped at a moment's notice. It's unfortunate that they couldn't have come to an agreement for Butler to stay, and ultimately it's unfortunate that Sony Advertising hasn't lived up to this series of commercials since. What is fortunate, however, is the fact that PlayStation was committed to move on. I mean, they could have easily just found another actor to replace the role of Butler or play a similar character, but they didn't, and it was definitely the right move. I suppose it was a new time for PlayStation anyways. Even if Lambert didn't breach his contract, he would have likely not been relevant for much longer because, as I said before, a change in product needs a change in advertisement. And the PlayStation 4 was like a couple of years away. So why am I bringing this up? What was the point of all of this? Well, I bring Butler up today to pick a bone I have with Sony. Now, think, in the past 5 years, has there been a Sony advertisement that has really made you feel good to be in the PlayStation space? Really, the only thing of consequence I can think of is the recent Live at 5 commercial they did for PS5 and the God of War ad featuring Ben Stiller. That's really about it. These ads are great because they are fun, but they are few and far between. In recent years, it's become quite obvious that PlayStation wants to uphold this premium Apple-like reputation. Now, that's not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but in my opinion, it's not very fun, and personally, PlayStation is at its best when it's, fun. It Only Does Everything was terrific because it upheld the same premium PlayStation feel with that playful air of self-awareness. They knew they totally fell flat, and they knew the audience was aware of that, which is why the PS3's return to form was so surprising and instrumental to the developing story of the games industry. It's a shame we'll likely never see anything like Kevin Butler again, but I guess these commercials are just a product of its time. I mean, I don't see nearly as many TV commercials nowadays compared to back then, so a new approach would sort of be useless in a way. I mean, how many people already have a PS5 watching this video? They already got you. There is no need to try so hard anymore. But who knows, maybe with the exit of Jim, Cry, and Ryan, PlayStation will up the fun factor of the space and return to that great late PS3 era again. I don't know, at this point I'm kind of just rambling, so I'll just close this video out. PlayStation culture back then was really fun and interesting, and I hope to see something like it again in the future. But in the meantime, let's just enjoy some games. I mean, this year has been fucking terrific for games. So go out, play whatever you've been itching to play, and come see me again in a couple of months. Hopefully I'll have something new for you by then. This has been me, Landon Hansen, signing off. Take care, guys.